Quite a few months ago, I was walking down the streets of New Orleans, and on one of the corners there was a stand in which there was a lot of tracts, which I later learned were from the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, which, if you don't know, that's Jehovah's Witnesses. I didn't have time to browse through them, but I did pick up this one, and I thought it would be fun to take a look at it. So, according to Jehovah's Witnesses and an atheist who's read a lot of the Bible, let's figure out what the Bible really teaches. Once we get past the table of contents, we're greeted with this face, which pretty accurately depicts my feelings about it. So skipping past some pointless drivel, we get to chapter 1, where there's a bit more pointless drivel. Let's skip to where they start making a point. Is God uncaring and hard-hearted? Many people think that the answer to that question is yes. If God cared, they reason, would not the world be a very different place? We look around and see a world full of war, hatred, and misery. And as individuals, we get sick, we suffer, we lose loved ones in death. Thus, many say, if God cared about us and our problems, would he not prevent such things from happening? James 1:13 answers, when under trial, let no one say, I am being tried by God. For with evil things God cannot be tried, nor does he himself try anyone. So God is never the source of wickedness you see in the world around you. That's not exactly what that's saying. It's saying that God never tries anyone. Hi, post-production hiith here. Now originally I didn't bother to look up this verse to fact check it or look at the context, but I did decide to do that when I started editing the video. Very professional, I know. But it turns out this verse has nothing to do with what they're talking about. Instead, this verse is talking about temptation, and the next verse explains that what it means is that temptation doesn't come from God, but instead comes from our own nature. So this has nothing to do with the wickedness we see in the world around us. But instead, I'll point to Isaiah 45 verse 7, where God admits that he creates evil. So there's that. Granted, he does allow bad things to happen, but there is a difference between allowing something to happen and causing it. So you're saying that God never causes anything bad to happen. But what about 1 Chronicles 21 verse 14, where God sent a pestilence to Israel that killed 70,000 of God's own people just because King David took a census in preparation for war? It looks to me like God directly caused that. God has not stopped humans when they have chosen to pursue a bad course, but he is not the cause of the problems that have resulted. Well, what about the people who have not chosen a bad course? Like in Luke chapter 13, where Jesus talks about Galileans who were killed and a bunch of people who were killed in a tower as it fell. He said that these people did not suffer these things because they were more sinful than anyone else. And he said, except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. Which is weird considering the fact that catastrophes affect religious people at the same rate as everyone else. God has good reasons for allowing mankind to follow a bad course. As our wise and powerful creator, he does not have to explain his reasons to us. So we don't need to know anything about God's reasoning, we just need to believe that it's good anyways, because how could it not? There's absolutely no way that the most powerful being in the universe could ever be malevolent. Out of love, however, God does this. Oh good. You will learn more about these reasons in chapter 11. I can't wait. But rest assured that God is not responsible for the problems we face. Kinda like 1 Kings 20 verse 36, where God caused a lion to kill a man because he didn't obey him. But God is never responsible for the problems we face. But instead it's our fault because God created two people without the knowledge of good and evil and then got mad when they did something wrong. So when he cursed the ground, when he forced us to toil throughout our entire lives, and when he personally caused pain during childbirth, that wasn't God's fault. That wasn't God's doing. That was their fault. But God is holy. He is pure and clean. There is no trace of badness in him. Well, he sure does seem to have some anger issues that he himself acknowledges, like in 1 Chronicles 21 verse 15, where God sent an angel to destroy Jerusalem, but stopped him before he did it, and repented of the evil. To anybody who reads this without using advanced mental gymnastics can clearly see that this shows that God isn't perfect.